Guts and Blackpowder has an assortment of weapons to choose from, ranging from the musket to the Revenant Saber. While most weapons have their own niche leading to dynamic and customizable gameplay, there are some weapons the community argue over due to some viewing them as obsolete, outclassed, or just bad in general. I have labeled these weapons simply as controversial. This does not mean they're bad. All I'm saying is that the community in general has a mixed opinion of these weapons and do not have a general consensus. There are 4 of these controversial weapons, and covering them will go as follows. I will first state the weapon, the negative remarks said about the weapon, and after using it, my view of the weapon itself. First off, the brass pistol, which is a weapon for the officer class and costs 750 francs. When it was first released, the stats of this weapon were undeniably shit.
This thing kinda sucks balls, bro. I'm kinda treating it like a shotgun. Maybe I shouldn't.
It could barely hit anything, it didn't have as many pellets, it just sucked as a weapon because it was like rolling dice with each shot. Those were the negative remarks at the time, and it soured the opinion of the community on the weapon. But having tried it myself now, it's definitely a lot different than back then. In my experience of using the brass pistol, I was pleasantly surprised at its effectiveness. I could, for the most part, hit what I was aiming at, which in hindsight sounds like a really bad thing to say. And this thing can take out sappers with one shot most of the time. Unlike the other pistols for the officer class, this actually has a use against hordes of zombies, sort of being a bridge between the officer and seaman class. With the pistol and its double barrel counterpart, you'll mostly be using it to fire at special zombies like bombers, igniters, and help teammates that have been tackled by runners. But this pistol is useful for helping with hordes, and like the double barrel, can take out sappers. However, despite being a good weapon in my eyes, there are situations where it misses. Literally. This weapon isn't entirely reliable, and you should expect it to sometimes not work in your favor. But if you compare it to the 2 other pistols, they work the same, in that they have shit accuracy, so it's just a general thing with officer class. I'll be honest, this gun is actually good, and I've started using it over the double barrel, since it has a shorter reload, it can be used against sappers and hordes of zombies. My official rating, it's a great gun, and I've started using it. The next weapon on our list is the infamous rifle, which is a weapon for the line infantry and costs 600 francs. The rifle's reputation has been contested for a while, and I've heard it might be getting buffed soon. The rifle is viewed negatively because of the following. In comparison to the musket, the extra accuracy and damage do little to help since the musket is already powerful enough and accurate enough on its own. The bayonet attached to the musket allows you to obliterate hordes during an officer's charge. And lastly, the rifle just takes way too long to reload. Weapons like the musket take long enough to load already, but the rifle takes way too long to reload. As you can see, the rifle may seem to have a lot of downsides towards it for very little upsides, but how does it actually fare when used? Using the rifle, I'm moderately satisfied with its performance. The things only it can do and the musket can't is take out the snipers on Copenhagen from the beginning and take out sappers with a headshot since it ignores the headshot resistance. Knowing my shots will hit exactly on point is a plus, and if I miss,
you suck!
There's only myself to blame. Well, I lied, I could just blame it on ping, but you get the picture. While it is a decent weapon, almost everything I've done could have just been done with the musket, and having the bayonet would have been better. You can try to equip the heavy saber to help replace the bayonet's charge ability, but it's not as strong and will take multiple hits to kill zombies like sappers. In hardcore, the rifle has more of a niche since taking out sappers is vital. Sappers in hardcore deal absolutely bonkers damage, and I'd argue that taking them out is worth it. So if you're playing in hardcore, using the rifle over the musket isn't that bad of an idea. I'm satisfied with the rifle in hardcore. The rifle likely needs a buff since its disadvantages are far too great for the advantages it does provide. The musket can fill its role in almost all situations. This gun can be used, and you should use it if you like the gun since it's not bad. Also, one of the best parts about the gun is its fucking gunshot sound. It's amazing, dog. The next weapon on our list is the pike, which is a weapon for the line infantry and costs 700 francs. I just realized all of the weapons here are primaries. The pike is infamous for the obvious downside of not having a gun. Not only that, but the weird hitboxes and slow movement speed make it especially awkward for anyone trying to use it for the first time. This is likely why a lot of people don't view the pike as a good weapon since the downsides seem too high, and using the weapon for the first time itself requires getting used to the different movement speed and the strange hitbox. I myself fell to this way of thinking and have disregarded the pike as a weapon I do not wish to use, but after having used it for a while, I'm impressed. This weapon has its place, and once you get used to it, it is a beast. Its long range allows you to hit enemies while being behind your teammates. This means you can stay out of danger while you hit zombies. At the same time, unlike the musket, it can hit multiple enemies in one swing, giving it extra viability against groups of zombies. If you can get used to the weapon, you can get hundreds of kills easily without dying, since you don't take as much damage by keeping your distance with this weapon. Like the musket, it will still give you the triple damage given during an officer's charge and be as insanely overpowered. The lack of a gun isn't as big of a problem as you think. In general, this game doesn't rely on guns. Sure, it's a necessity for some areas, but usually teammates have you covered in that department, and fire at both powers and objectives that are needed. The slow movement speed can be mitigated by just not carrying it the entire time, and it's not that big of a deal using it since you're supposed to keep your distance anyway. The weird hitbox doesn't take too long to get used to if you have proper knowledge and how to hit using it. So I highly recommend trying the pike and getting used to it. It's not a bad weapon as some people may think.